But I did later on because I became a Christian after that, even though I was listening to MC Hammer before I was a Christian. Isn't that funny? Because that was like he was a Christian artist. But when I became a Christian, I was also um the captain of my dance team. And so I did a lot of the choreography. And I was like, we're only dancing to Christian music now, team. It didn't matter that I was at a public school and that's what I was doing. I was like, I don't care. This is what we're doing. Anyway, pretty goofy. Okay, well, let's get a rolling. Okay, how about you guys? We talked about kind of living from heaven, governing from heaven last week. Do you remember? Did anyone practice this and engaging with other people this week? I'm not sure if Lorado is talking to us or if she's working. I have no idea what's happening.
It's a great picture of her, though.
I know. She's so cute.
She is.
Okay, well, anyone else? No one practiced at all? You guys.
I can say I practiced it, but I didn't engage with anybody about it. So that's what you asked. And I also missed last week's class, so I didn't know that that was supposed to go on. But yeah, it seems to be a regular. There's no other option um, besides engaging in heaven and asking the Lord for direction. So
Yeah. Well, here's what I recommend. I recommended this last week, but I need you guys to pay attention. um I want you guys to practice engaging with other people. We talked about the importance of governing from heaven and not just governing, being in your seat of rest. Remember? We talked a lot about that. We talked a lot about the importance of engaging with others. Here's what I really think. This class is going to be valuable to you if you go beyond the 2 hours that we meet. It will not be of much value to you if you don't. So it might be of some value. It can sit in the back of your subconscious, until the Lord brings it back up. That's true. But I think it would be of more value if you would really do your best to put these things into practice and to use our class as community. Because what we don't want is all of us to come and listen together and then leave and still not have community. And almost everyone on here has some sort of Christian community, but most people on here don't have any Christian community that you engage with. And so that there's a little bit of a difference. You know what I mean? Everybody in this class, you're meant to be leaders. What you need to do is focus on engaging with other people in our class so that you can grow more. Because listening to me talk is wonderful and fine, but it is so much better when you have richer experiences than you do just on your own. When you have them on your own, it's still really good, but there's so much more that's opened up when you engage with other people. I'm going to do something a little bit different this time. I'm going to just get right into some of what we're talking about today because it kind of relates. And then we'll engage after, okay? We'll engage a little bit later. But I want to tell you this. I don't want you to think this is some sort of condemning talk. It's not at all. What it is an encouragement to go further than you think you can. Because I'll tell you what happens to me. I get in this place of, oh, I don't know how to say. I don't even realize I'm getting complacent. Do you know what I mean? Like I engage. I know it's important for sure. I know intimacy is important for sure. But I'm never led into extreme newness unless I am engaging with other people. When I'm engaging with other people, new things open up that it doesn't even have to be that they are doing it. It's like what happens to me if I'm engaging with Pearl and we're just open to whatever the Lord wants. She will see something that will spark something in me. And all of a sudden, the Lord is leading me into something I've never seen before, never experienced before. And that's the only way that that can become normal for me. Do you know what I mean? That's my new normal. And if I don't do that, I don't get opened up to new experiences. I was explaining this actually, I don't know if you first saw this, but I was explaining this, I think it was the Wednesday class. I'm not sure, but one of my first experiences, the first experience I ever had in the Father's house was when I was engaging with my kids. And I was engaging with my kids and they were young. Okay. So Soren was like 8. Okay. So 8, 6, and 5, probably something about that. So I'm engaging with them. And I remember a couple things they opened up to me that I had never seen before. One thing is Eden, she's my middle one. She said, well, I'm in a forest and I see a bunch of animals and angels, and they're building a throne in the forest. And I'm like, animals? And I'm in my mind going, wow, she has an active imagination. Because I'd never seen animals before. And so I thought they aren't there. And she said, I don't know. The angels are telling me that I'm supposed to sit on this throne and that it's mine. And I'm like, well, that's awesome. She had never heard me talk about a throne before, just so you know. So this was something that I was like, oh, no, she's really experiencing this. And so we're going and experiencing this. And then shortly after that, like, I don't know, a couple months later, I had another friend who I was engaging with. And she said, I see all of these animals around. And I'm like, really? Eden saw a lot of animals. And I started to understand that it had to do with their different mandates and how they're different. Well, now you guys probably know I've talked about it pretty openly. Yeah, I see animals all the time, actually. That's nothing new to me now at all. It's nothing strange. It's normal. But that was not my normal back then. And another time when I was engaging with my kids, Soren saw this big mansion and he said, it looks like the White House, except for it's not white. It's kind of looks like a castle, but it looks like the White House. And I'm like, okay. And I said, well, he shared this after, like when we finished engaging and he was sharing what he saw. And I said, well, did you ask to go in? He said, no. And I said, well, next time you got to ask to go in. And he said, okay. And the next time we engaged, he saw that house again, that mansion again. And he said, Mom, I see it again. And I said, oh, awesome. Ask if you can go in this time. And he said, I don't think I can go in. And then he just goes, oh, I'm there. And he was in. And then he said, and all of you guys are supposed to come too. And then all of a sudden we started engaging in that mansion. Turns out that's the father's house, that no one had ever talked about before, that I had known of. I had never seen it before. Now this is like one of the main places I am. I mean, it's a huge part of my walk. Huge. I I have experiences in the Father's house almost daily. Lots of people that around the world that I've taught experience the Father's house, all because of Soren. They don't know it's because of Soren, but it's because of Soren, because he opened the pathway for me. And then I could open the pathway for other people. But I'm saying this was just me and my little kids. You know, I wasn't even engaging with people who were really mature yet. I was just, okay, let's do this. Let's try. I want to raise my kids like this. So this is what I'm doing. And it's really cool when we have others who we can engage with, who lead us into something that then becomes a part of our walk. And it just becomes a part of who we are. It becomes our new normal. And if we don't engage with other people and we stick to our own little walk by ourselves, what happens is we have a path to walk on, but we don't have anything else to go with. We talked about testimony last month sometime. Do you remember? Anybody remember testimony? Okay, no. Okay. Well, I want to just talk about this because I talked about how testimony, what it does in the physical is it opens up new neural pathways in your brain so that you can actually have a way to think that way. All right. In the spirit, these neural pathways are like opening up a new road for you to walk on in the spirit. And so testimony does that. And when you're engaging with other people, it does the same thing because they're giving testimony right then about what they're seeing, you know? Or experiencing or whatever it is. And so then all of a sudden you have a new path to walk on. The more you walk that path, the more it becomes a normal thing. It's just like, oh, you haven't heard of that restaurant down the street? It's my very favorite. Oh my gosh, you have to go to this restaurant. Where is it? Here, let me show you. Let's go. And then the next time you're like, that was great. I don't remember how to get there. I got to call Chris and get there again. And so then I'm like, oh yeah, you just go down this street, go over here. Right. And so then they go to this restaurant again and it becomes their new favorite. And pretty soon they're known at the restaurant. Everybody knows them and they get their favorite thing every time. And they're able to lead lots of other people there. That is how it is with our walk. And if you don't ever try new things with other people, you are not going to have an expansive walk. You're just going to have that one path that isn't bad to have intimacy, but it's going to limit you on how you function in the earth from heaven. I promise. The first time I had this experience, do you remember? Some of you might have heard this recently. I had this guy I was kind of walking with, when I very first started engaging in the heavenly realms. He wanted to introduce me to his mother in the faith. And when he did, he asked me to help them engage in the heavens. And I had never done that before. And it freaked me out, but I knew I was supposed to, so I did anyway. And when we did, one of the things that happened is this spiritual mother of his She had, for like 20 or 30 years, been traveling in the spirit with Yeshua. She did not have an idea of anyone else doing this. This was something only she did. And she got a prophetic word one time from someone that she would have other people who did this with her. And the Lord would show her when it was time who would do this with her. And when we were engaging in heaven that day, even though I was really uncomfortable, the Lord showed her that I'm the first person who's supposed to do that with her. Well, me, I'm just like, if the Lord's leading, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but that obviously hasn't stopped me yet. So I was like, okay, just whenever the Lord leads, call me up. So later that week, the Lord led her and she called me up. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I was just, okay, let's engage with the Lord and see. And that's exactly what she did. And so we just engaged with the Lord. And we had such an amazing experience. I didn't really understand what was happening at the time because I'd never done such a thing before. But we were bilocating. Now I understand what it is. Do you guys know what I mean when I say bilocating? Yes. Okay. So we were physically in two different places at the same time. So it wasn't just in the spirit like I thought. It was with our bodies as well. Now, I had never heard of anything like this before. I was very confused because I had this experience where I was literally in where was it? In Zambia, which I had not even actually heard of before, okay? At the time. This country in Africa. And we were in this country in Africa and we were meeting all of these little kids. There were lots of people that we saw there and they were freaked out that we were there. And it was so strange. Like I saw them, especially I remember these two adult men and one of them who was like super suspicious of why we were there, and seeing the looks on their face. I'm feeling the air. I'm feeling the dirt because I'm like somehow barefoot on this dirt street kind of thing. And on the side, there were these little buildings, kind of. I don't know. Anyway, this lady was sweeping, but it was like a dirt sidewalk. And I couldn't understand why she was sweeping the dirt. But anyway, she was sweeping with this broom that was not like a broom we use in the States. And, I'm seeing all this stuff. And then all these little kids run up to us so excited. And then all of a sudden we have tracts in our hands. And okay, I don't know about you guys. Have you ever done evangelism or had anyone evangelize to you with tracts? Okay, I hate them. I'm just going to tell you the truth. Like I've never liked them. I thought it was super impersonal and corny. I have never been a fan. Now, it's fine if other people are. Yeshua literally had these tracts in our hands, and we were giving and showing these kids these tracts, and they were loving it. And it was so interesting. We were just hugging on them, loving on them, sharing these tracts. We didn't even speak their language, but we were doing that. And anyway, it was a phenomenal experience. And then all of a sudden, I'm like focused back. And the whole time I'm talking on the phone with Colleen, this lady. So it's not like I'm not actually talking on the phone. I'm talking on the phone because this lady lives in Colorado. And so I'm talking on the phone this whole time as I'm physically there. And I was so confused because I was expecting kind of an engaging sort of experience. You know what I mean? Like how how I engage in the heavenly realms, I do not at all see, feel, hear like I do in the earth. It's just not how I experience things in heaven. It's like definitely that see through the mirror dimly thing. You know what I mean? It's that's the feeling for me, is that I experience it, but it's almost like super cloudy in how I experience everything. And so when I had this experience where I was seeing everything just like I was actually there, um, I was questioning everything afterwards. Like, what just happened? I know I was there, but I know I was here. And how does this make sense? And the Lord started doing that with us. And sometimes we would be traveling only in the spirit, and it would be more like engaging. And then other times we would be traveling in the physical like that. And other times it would just be simply engaging. It was like always a little bit different, but we started traveling in the spirit every week. The Lord would have us do it every single week. And that became my new norm, that it was very easy then to travel in the spirit. It was very easy to do that. I would only do it when the Lord was leading. So never do I just decide, oh, I don't want to buy a plane ticket. I'm going to trans relocate to Pearl's house. I never do that. I would never do that. Okay. A lot of people have that goal. That's not my goal. I want to only do when Yeshua leads me. Okay. But that's every time he does, it's wonderful. And it's something that's really normal for me. And it's only because I stepped out in faith and engaged with Matthew and Colleen. And then now I'm engaging with Colleen, and now things are opened up and it's totally different. And so my whole point is, there are things that we need to do to affect things in the earth that we aren't even aware of because we aren't engaging with other people. And so you need to open yourself up to engage with other people. And you will start to experience things together that you haven't ever thought of. Like Nidia, I know Nidia and Amanda have started doing this a lot, and they have some awesome shared experiences. They have had things open up to them that is now really normal for them, but it wasn't at first. Right, Nidia? I don't know if she can talk. She might be in church.
That's right.
Okay. Are you in a place that you can talk, Nidia? Is that a yes?
I'm right here.
Hi. Okay. Would
Am
you
I not
mind?
connecting? I think I have it back connected.
No, I think you're connecting. I think that maybe you said yes right before you unmuted or something. Um, so anyway, would you mind sharing some of what you and Amanda have experienced and what was opened up to you because you started engaging with her?
So the first thing that comes to my mind, well, first and foremost, praise God for all of it. I want to honor him. But it was so beautiful because Amanda and I been with Christine for a while, and when we first, I think we were taking like intro to engaging or something like that, and um, the Lord told us that we were like to engage together, and we're like, okay, but it sounded like I got something special, right? And I was like, okay, like I don't know who this Amanda girl is, and she don't know who this Nydia girl is, She's in Texas, I'm in California. I don't know. And we kind of did get together one time, a couple of times, but it was like, and then as we were doing the classes and whatnot, I don't know, I think we've been doing it. I don't know how long she's been with you, but I think we've been knowing each other now for maybe 3, 4 years. And finally, after doing this class, we just started to get together more of on a weekly basis. just engaging. And it was so interesting because at first, every time I would engage with her and she would engage with me, we would always see each other like Native American, like little girls and stuff. And so we would see like that kind of scenery. Um, and it was like, okay. And I just thought, well, I engage with Myrna and I don't see myself that way. And, blah, blah, blah. And it's only when I do it with Amanda. Um, and so we kept engaging. And the next thing we know, now what we know is that I guess, we I mean, obviously we're all sisters in Christ, right? But like somehow, I don't know if it was in a different timeline or something, we were like siblings, we were sisters. And the Lord walked us through like cleansing of the land, forgiveness. Well, first there was oh gosh, I wish Amanda was here too so she can share some more. But at first, before even knowing that, like we were in Native American scenes and we were like calling out forgiveness and like cleansing of certain events and the land. And then comes to find out that we were like siblings. And it's like, whoa. And then, of course, I needed confirmation a couple of times. And I was like, what about this? What about this? So, and anyway, so then it was confirmed by the Lord. And then we even saw, golly, it was so beautiful. Um, we were engaging and we went back to, I guess, our tribe back in the timeline. And the chief was saying how they were waiting for that moment and there was a big celebration and they always knew. And it was so cute because they always knew, but yeah, we didn't know. We probably knew then, but not now. And how I guess we were like set out to redeem the bloodline and redeem some of the land. As part of like our mandate back then, and we didn't even know that. And so that was like super special because the Lord revealed that, he brought us together first and foremost, and then it took us years to even like start engaging like more of on a regular basis. And we still do it, but not like every week, right? But we still do it, and it's just like walking us through this whole like cleansing of the indigenous. And I don't know that it's specifically like a specific tribe or anything like that because it hasn't been like highlighted to us, but it was like definitely like going back to our little tribe and like getting to know the chief. And um yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's just so much I can share, but I don't want to take too much time. And just like in a nutshell, we were seeing all these things, and I having that mandate to like cleanse and really bring forgiveness to the tribe, forgiveness to the events that happened in the past, and even like cleansing of the land. That's like a major one too because the land holds memory, and the land also needs redemption, not just the living. Well, I mean, they're living things, right? But we think of you know us as human beings. We need redemption, we need salvation, and we need cleansing, but we don't sometimes stop to think, I don't know, like even items like the land itself. Yeah, it's dirt, but it's more than dirt. And the events and situations and how strongholds can be still kept in certain areas. And that's why, just as us, we tend to be stuck or feel stuck and something's going on. And until we cleanse that bloodline or cleanse that or pray for redeem, the land holds that stuff too. Places, trees hold that. And, that's a good question. I don't know if they themselves can do it or if it needs to be done by us, the children of God. But I know we were doing it.
If who can do it?
Like the land itself, can the trees redeem themselves? Ask for cleansing. Like, how we can go to the courts of heaven with Joshua and we can get the cleaning of our bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if like nature can do that or if they need us to do that.
That's a good question. I don't really know, actually. I mean, I would think that all of creation could turn back to the Father, but on the other hand, it does say all of creation is waiting for the manifest sons of God to appear. And so probably we have a special mandate to awaken creation and to redeem the land,
Mm.
you know? Yeah.
And so we were blessed and did a lot of that. And then we would see a lot of spheres of all the little like souls that were like in this land, caught up in this land in these situations, kind of trapped in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one time, well, yeah, the chief said that they've been waiting for us, like they've been waiting all this time, and we're celebrating that we were like there, right? And I thought, wow, how long have they been waiting?
Well, it could be. I'll tell you this same sort of thing kind of happened to me when I was called, like my sister, me, and another lady, we were called to in the heavens, like all of these people from the cloud of witnesses were brought to us, and we were asked to complete this covenant in South Africa. And they acted the same way, like they'd been waiting a long time. What I found out was it wasn't specifically for us, they were waiting for who was willing to do it and who could. And that is why we were chosen. It wasn't because I'm like, we're not even from there, having this idea, and it's not about that. I think a lot of times there's so many who are called, but so few are chosen. And it's because so many are called, but not many will respond or even can. It's like they don't know how and I think that I was chosen because I can and I will. And the same with you. You can and you will. You were created with a certain mandate and an ability that I don't have, you know, like your bloodline, whatever it is. Maybe it's not even your bloodline at all. It could not even be in the physical bloodline. It could just be a spiritual mandate of who you are. But whatever it is, you were chosen for that because it's who you are, and it's you are willing and you are able and you are focused in the heavens. You're there. And I think that sometimes we just have to be open to doing what we're supposed to do, even when we don't understand it, and be able to focus well on Yeshua. That's pretty much the only things. But there are so few who can do it.
And the most beautiful part it was that, being trained as a deliverance minister back in the day, and you go spiritual warfare and you get ready for battle and you're gonna go in there and like, when you old school like we used to pray. I used to be part of the deliverance ministry and we would pray, lay hands, and we were ready for that, and then we would get beat up, right? Retaliation by the enemy. And it was nothing like that. It was nothing that we planned. It was we were just getting together. Let's see what the Lord wants us to do today.
Yeah.
And it was we just led into it, and it was like super easy, no preparation on our part, or like you would say, I'm gonna train for this. Nothing like that. And all the honor and glory to the Lord because he just showed up and he said, do this, do that. And we just did it. And it was like, whoa, what just happened?
Right.
Cleansing, purification, and all that good stuff. And it was like, we literally just showed up and just followed instructions. That's it. Nothing that we were going to be like, oh yeah, we're going to cleanse the land and we're going to be putting our battle uniform on and our, armor and this and that. Nothing like that. The Lord is like, no, just do this, do this, do that, and no retaliation whatsoever, and then just reap all the benefits. Praise God.
That's so cool. Very cool. All right, Pro, go ahead.
I liked what you said, Christine, about it's just a matter of showing up and doing it. The reason for that is last year sometime I was engaging and I found myself after the second time of going back into the engagement, I found myself at what I can only be described as a place where it's just probably Chinese. So I'm not sure whether it was in China, but I got the sense that that's where it was. And I was in this prison, near this prison camp. And the Lord was saying to me, I need to speak to this man. I'm cutting a very long story short. So I was able to speak to the man. The man was taken out of prison, but the guards couldn't see him leaving the prison cell. He came out into like the main exercise area, that massive square where people come out to exercise from the prison cell. And he walked out. And I was told, sorry, I said to the man, he can't go back home. But the Lord had prepared a place. There was a place for him in like in the woods or something like that where he had to go. He couldn't go back to his place. Long story short again, I said to the Lord, why is it in like China, some Asian country? And the Lord said to me that he should have been out of prison a long time ago, but you delayed. You didn't turn up on time.
Mm.
So my question is, I was told that don't ask the Lord why for certain things, but yes, it's one thing to be chosen, and I didn't go looking for that.
Right.
The Lord simply took me there.
Yeah.
My question would be, what do I do with something like that? Because I would see that as a one-off.
What do you mean you would see that as a one-off?
Would I mean, would I go back and engage the Lord again and see if there's any more to it? Because the
I
man was
would.
released.
I would, even if that man was released, go, okay, Lord, is there anyone else like this? I mean, really, like it may not be in China, it may be in India or something. I mean, I don't know, but clearly you have a mandate for it. And so
Oh, yes.
if I were you, I would definitely just at least go, okay, I'm here, I'm willing. Is there anything else you want me to do? Anyone
Oh,
else?
you just said it.
Yeah.
As soon as you said that, the penny dropped. As
Mm.
soon as you said
Amen.
there's a mandate for it, the penny dropped. Because before then, long story short again, the Lord had me kind of like flying over this port in Europe. Long story short, Jesus was on my left, I was on the right, and he was saying to me, okay, now speak to the guard to stop that lorry. Long story short, I'm like, Lord, I can't speak to the guard. He said, speak to the guard to stop the lorry. It didn't come out my mouth. It was just like a thought that went out. And the guard, I can see the guard literally, he stopped the lorry.
Right.
And then the Lord peeled back the top of the lorry, and I saw these kids in the lorry. Long story short, the kids were delivered,
Mm.
and the Lord said to me, speak to the people who are praying for them, for kids who were trafficked.
Yep.
And I spoke to the people who were praying for the kids that were trafficked, and they kind of like the kids were sent to those people. So as soon as you mentioned, maybe there's a mandate for it, that hit my spirit.
Mm.
So yeah, I got that now. There is a mandate for me to, maybe this is part of my ministry in the spiritual realm,
Free
because
the
it's happened
captives.
before.
Yep. You are called to free the captives, right?
Ah, amen. Amen. Yes. Yes, of course. Of course, yes. Amen. He came
Mm.
to set the captives, and I don't have to get on a train or a plane to do that.
Right.
Okay, so once that is done, then what do I do in the physical realm? Do I then just, because it's happened in the spiritual realm, do I have a role to play in the physical realm now? What do I do then?
Ask the Lord. Ask the Lord. Ask him that. I mean, I know that's you hate the answer, but that's like exactly. You need to ask, is there anything else I need to do here? Like, because this is what I do. And most of the time, I don't actually have to do anything in the physical, but sometimes I do. And so that's like when I was called to do this thing with South Africa, I did not expect that I would have to go there. And then the Lord said, now you have to go there. And I want you to go to this certain place. And I want you to take communion and pour it on the ground. That's all I knew. That's all I knew. And I was like, South Africa, how am I going to go there? I was like, I don't know. This is so easy for me now. I'm like, okay, easy, hop a plane, it'll be fine. But like back then, it was like, are you kidding? That's all the way across the world, and I don't know where anything is. And you're telling me I have to go to this place, and I've never heard of this place. And so, what he did was take care of all the details because all I knew is I was going to take communion here. He called 4 other ladies to go with me. We go. We asked our host, hey, can you please take us to this place? We just need to take communion there. And so they take us to this place. We end up, the people at the place set up some chairs under a tree. And the Lord called all sorts of other people to that same place, to the same tree at the same time. And it was all for this mandate. All of us, it was amazing what happened. I cannot explain to you the orchestration that had to happen. And it was all the Lord. I didn't have to do anything. And it was so cool what happened that day. Huge redemption in the land. It wasn't just redemption. It was all of this forgiveness between different people groups and all of this that had to be changed to undo this horrible covenant and fulfill the covenant of the Lord. And I just thought I was going for communion in South Africa. Like really, it's so cool what the Lord does. So just go, what is there anything I'm supposed to do in the earth? Like, tell me, do I need to actually go do something, or are we good? And it's that simple. I mean, do what you're led. That's it. And he'll do the
So
rest.
when he said that was probably a mandate,
Yeah.
when he said this is probably a mandate, it would be a mandate to work with Yeshua to deliver the captives. Is that right?
Yes.
As in the mandate. That's what it means?
Yes.
Is the mandate therefore the same as my identity?
No, here's the difference. Your identity is who you are. A mandate is what you're supposed to do. So you are not what you do, but of course your identity plays a part in it. So for instance, I know I'm supposed to establish kingdom order in the earth. That's something I'm called to do. That's a mandate. But it wouldn't be possible without my identity of who I am in the kingdom, because I'm on the court of judges and I help establish kingdom order in heaven as well. And so because of that, and I didn't know that when God told me to establish kingdom order in the earth, I didn't even know what that meant. I literally had no clue. What are you talking? What even is kingdom order? And I don't know. I didn't know any of that. And so he sometimes will give you a mandate before you understand anything about who you are or why, but he has created you for it. So your identity is helpful in every way to do what you're supposed to do and like fulfill your mandates. Your mandates are something that's on your destiny scroll. It's who you are, but it's also what you do, right? So yeah, and I wouldn't say it's the only thing you're made for. It's just one of the things that you're supposed to do.
Okay, so here's another example. Sorry, I was just making a quick note of what I'm supposed to do both. Okay, so last night, no, night before, I was talking to the Lord because of this um, more or less violent spiritual sexual attack that came. And a reason why I said it was violent is that there was a real, I can feel the struggle between this entity that was, oh, and I was struggling and I'm trying to call out the name of the Lord. Eventually, I mentioned Jesus and it released. So I engaged the Lord as to what to do and why, because it's happened a couple of times. And then the Lord showed me my bloodline about what has happened in my past in the bloodline and the men as well as the women who have the source of it. And I'm saying, Lord, which court shall I take it to? Long story short, we went to the court of judgment because I'm being attacked spiritually for the Lord to judge whatever is happening. Long story short, the enemy was judged, the gates were closed. And then the Lord kind of like put something on me. But the thing that really stood out is that he gave me this metal crown, but also he gave me this bunch called, and I recognize it as hyssop. And the reason why I recognize it as hyssop is that I have had an encounter before with the Lord in heaven where a couple of my family members were lined up and the Lord said I should judge them. I said, Lord, but I don't know how to do that, even though he's given me this bunch of thing called hyssop. I meant to put it in the blood and then put it over them. And he said, well, I'm glad you said that because I will show you how to. As soon as the Lord put this crown on my head, immediately the hyssop was suddenly stamped on the crown that was put on my head. And I heard the word judge. You're now a judge in the spiritual realm. So the reason why I connected with that is because of the first encounter where the hyssop he asked me to use to kind of help cleanse my brother. And the following day, my brother called, which I didn't expect him to. So I received that. Now that the Lord's telling me I am a judge with this crown, I am identifying now as a judge. Is that my identity?
Yes.
Or is that my mandate? I am to judge things.
I mean, probably both. So you are a judge. That is who you are. And you judge because you are a judge. So, I mean, it's kind of like,
okay,
you function like your identity is. So,
okay.
my sister's an apostle. So apostles do certain things. They fly around like that. Is flying who she is? Not really, but because she's an apostle, you know what I mean? That's part of it. That's what she does. And so it's the same for you with being a judge. You are a judge. Will you forever be a judge? I don't know. I mean, to me, what I've learned is that I thought a lot of things would be forever, and I don't function in those things at all anymore. And it's not even anything that the Lord said, oh, you're now not to do that. It's just he's leading me into everything else, and it's not that anymore. And so I really believe, I talk about this with kingdom order, and this can be something I think it's really important in the heavens and the earth to understand that positions are, there's grace coming in and there's grace going out. So it is something that new people are supposed to take the place often. And then you move into a different position. And so it's like, there's no, well, how come I'm not getting to do this anymore? Like, that's not how we should function ever. It should be whatever the Lord wants. Okay, it's better where he wants me to be, And so, anyway, I guess I say that to say most things are kind of temporary that I have seen. Even though we talk about everything like life is eternal, right? We get that. But a lot of even how we function is temporary in the heavens and in the earth. Right? Nidia, go ahead.
I wanted to say something else too. I think there's beauty in also not knowing and just being led by the Lord, because then for me, it's like my little fear might kick in, and I shouldn't say mine because it's not mine. You know, like fear will kick in, doubt will kick in, my you know, not confident in myself and what my capabilities will kick in, and so therefore I wouldn't. If I know the whole plan, I will pick at it and come up with millions of reasons why I'm not the one to do it because I'm not capable or good enough or whatever it is, right? And so there is beauty in not knowing the whole assignment per se, so that we can get it, get it done. And also because that also allows me to realize and know that it is all God. It is not me. It is all God, you know. And then two, kind of what you were saying right now, like the assignments, the mandates, um, change can be different. And I think that has to do with growth, right? As we're going with the Lord, we're going to be assigned different assignments to continue growing in Him and in our faith and in our spirit walk. And we would get bored too. I mean, I'm one of those that I get bored real easily when I'm like, okay, I mastered this. I thought of every other effective way of doing this and it's not working. So I need something better. Like I need more than milk now, and I need my meat or something, you know? And so that is so beautiful. And even now, right, that we go back and read the Bible, we discover and we recognize and realize, whoa, I didn't realize that's what that meant, or that it also means this or means that. It's like new revelation, fresh, right? And so we can rest, and I can rest in peace that I know what I need to know now. And when that time comes, I will know more. I will know what I need to know at that point in time. And there's peace to that. And I need to learn to stay in that peace because I'm very antsy in my pantsies and I want to know everything and I want to know details. And that's me, right? But then I feel like that's more of my insecurity. And I need to learn to rest more on the Lord. Chill, Nydia, chill. Just know that God got you. You will know what you need to know when the moment comes. And I think as women, we're managing our home, we're planners. We need to look at plan A, B, and C, juggle all these things. And so we're in that like fix it mode. And so when God sends us assignment, it's like, okay, well, what if that doesn't work? What are we gonna do? And it's like, no, just relax. I could see the Lord just laughing and telling me, relax. Just do one thing at a time. Just do what I'm telling you now. Anyways, I thought I'd share.
That's fun. Thank you, Nydia. Okay, what did you say, Pearl? Okay. I have to put on my glasses to read the chat, you guys. Okay. Sorry. Oh, I missed Nydia too. Nydia said mandate is like an assignment, maybe long or short term, one or many. Absolutely. Pearl said, thank you. That helps. I like that. As we are growing, we're given different assignments. Also, there's beauty in resting with and what we are asked to do at times without knowing. For sure. I feel like that happens to me all the time. Another beautiful thing about when we engage with other people is we get to experience how the Lord speaks to them and works through them. And it opens our eyes to something really different. I have a friend named Chelsea, and she is, I'm going to say this is going to sound strange to many of you probably, but she's the commander of angel armies. Okay. So she's kind of in charge of the angels in the heavenly realms. If you meet her, she is the most humble person in the whole world. You would never, ever, ever imagine that would be who she is. But the Lord made that. All right. And so anyway, one time we were engaging together, and she used to be, and she isn't really anymore. And that's again, okay. There was no falling out or anything. It's just the Lord moves us on. She used to be like my right-hand man in the spirit. And that's the Lord said that she was supposed to be, right? And she knew that. And we were working very closely because of that. And we were engaging one time, and all of a sudden the Lord is like, okay, you need to look. The battle is coming right now. And so we were up on this like kind of castle watchtower kind of thing. And all of a sudden, these armies were coming toward us of fallen angels. And they were riding horses and stuff. And I was like, whoa. All of a sudden, this weapon appears in Chelsea's hands. And we've never seen a weapon like this. It was like kind of like a baton, and it had these two like light orbs on both ends. And and we're just like, what does she do with it? You know? And the father or Yeshua, I don't remember who said, but one of them was like, you just point this at the enemy, and it's like the frequency of the father will hit them. It's almost like a really long range taser. You know what I mean? And so anyway, this frequency went out and hit this fallen angel, and we're expecting like them to die and like, or disintegrate or something. And instead it shot up and ascended. It's like its death form body like went down, and its spirit light body went up and ascended and then joined our forces. And this was mind blowing to me, because I have always been of the impression that, you know, the fallen angels don't get redemption. They are our supreme enemies, and there's nothing good about them. And they would never turn to the Lord. And if they did, they would have to repent for sure. And so all of a sudden, the Father does this mind-blowing thing and redeems this fallen angel. And it wrecks my theology in a good way. I mean, but it does. And I was just like, what? You mean they can be redeemed, you know? And the funny thing is, even though it was hard for me to believe, you know, inside it was actually like, well, that definitely seems like the Father. I mean, you know what I mean? Have you ever had that when you're like, well, that lines up with his character way more than what I was thinking? And so you get it, but it's like, what? And I remember this led me into several other experiences where the Father did something very similar, not the same, but very similar. And it just led into more and more experiences like this. And I never would have had that experience if Chelsea and I weren't engaging together. Because it wasn't through me, it was through her. And she had never had that experience. And if she wasn't there trying to defend me, which is what she was doing at the time, then she wouldn't have had that experience either. And then later on, other people wouldn't have had this experience because of what the Lord led me to do later with all that. And so, you know, it's just amazing what happens when we engage with different people. And so if you're used to engaging with like me, okay, pretty much everyone here has engaged with me. I know that, which I appreciate. And I love engaging with each one of you a lot. But please engage with other people, because you're going to experience something different when you engage with Lorado, and when you engage with Karen, and when you engage with River and Nidia and Pearl. And it's going to be like, what? I didn't know that could happen. You're going to have those experiences so often that it becomes very exciting. and you start growing in who you are and what you're supposed to do and how you function. And then all of a sudden, we start manifesting heaven on earth way better because we are growing and moving instead of just kind of staying stagnant. And so, if you feel like you have hit a place of a little bit of stagnance, is that the word? Whatever. If you feel like you've hit that place, engage with somebody else. Just do that. Just go, okay, I trust all the people in this class. We know everyone here for sure loves the Lord. Will everyone get it right all the time? No, but neither do I. And so you just have to go, all right, let's do this together. Let's grow together. I don't know what'll happen. What does the Lord want to do? And let's not just engage with each other when we're desperate. You know, I mean, I am guilty of that. I am guilty of it. I'm like, the only time I call somebody else is when I'm like getting my butt kicked and can't see or something. And so, it's better if we'll be like, hey, let's just arrange a time. Let's do it. And, sometimes when I'm getting my butt kicked, I reach out to people and it's not for them to do. And it's not the right time and all of that. And I have to just go, okay, Lord, I trust you. You still got me. I still will be fine. You're the only one who protects my life. I am fine. And then still go and seek him separate from your freaking outs. You know what I mean? Okay, so that's my little rant for the day, or encouragement, hopefully. I'm hoping it is. Any other questions or comments, testimony, anything like that you want to add?
I like those little rants.
Thanks. Good.
Definitely.
Cool. I feel like Karen was moving so she could say something, but I don't know that.
Well, I will say
She was. Okay. I think Nydia, go ahead and tell Karen's ready.
okay. No, I wanted to share that I truly, truly enjoy learning from one another, um, from you guys, ladies, not guys. Just I really am truly blessed when I get to engage with somebody else. Because like Christine said, our gifting is different and the Lord will use us differently. And it's like we're all part of this team and we all bring something different and valuable and beautiful. And when we get together, it's like having like a big old banquet, a big old party where, when you get together with your loved ones or family and, just loving on one another, enjoying each other's company. I feel it like that, like we're engaging, but we're like, just enjoying one another and seeing different things. Like my sister, my blood sister, she is such a great seer, and I wish I had more time to engage with her because she clearly sees in the spirit. I'm more of a feeler. I feel, I don't see. I feel like I go in there like this, so she helps me see stuff. And so when everybody comes together, we're all bringing a piece to the puzzle, and it really truly excites me when I'm feeling something, but I'm not sure. And then somebody says something and it's like confirmation and it's like, oh, good, I'm not crazy. Well, I knew I'm crazy, but but it's a confirmation like, yes, I'm right on. I'm heading the right direction. And it really boosts our confidence with one another. And we all benefit from each other. And I feel like I come out, not that my one-on-ones are not exciting with the Lord, but they're so much more funner when it's with somebody else. I feel like I gain a lot more, and it's exciting. It's also for me, like when I'm getting something from someone else and it's blessing someone else. You know how they say it's better to give than to receive or something like that. It's just that joy and that also that reward that wow, yay, I was used by the Lord.
Lord has something beautiful for my sister or my brother. That is so rewarding too. Um, so anyways, so yeah, I want to engage with everybody.
I love it.
Me too.
Karen, was that what you were moving to say?
Yes, I enjoy engaging with everybody. I have grown so much. Oh my goodness, just allowing myself to go where I was afraid to go before because I didn't realize it was really real.
Mm.
You think it's your imagination. You go in the Lord, and I actually before this I would go in the Lord, and then stuff would I could see stuff because that I think I'm more of a seer. I see a lot, but I think with all the things that I had been through, just knowing how to navigate that. And I would definitely love to do more engaging. I'm gonna send out my messages and see who responds.
Good. That's awesome. Hi, Amanda.
Hello, how are y'all?
Good. We are talking about engaging with other people and how that grows us in different ways. And we've just been kind of going off on little tangents here and there, of course, just like always. But that's what we've been talking about.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Should I elaborate?
I mean, if you want to, Nadia was explaining some stuff about how you guys engage together. I asked her to share, and she was like, "Oh, I wish Amanda was here to share some more." Um, so I don't know if you have
Yeah,
anything
I
to add
mean,
on that.
I really don't know what she said. I came in on the last bit of what she was talking about, but I think that it's so exciting, to be able to engage with others because just like Karen was saying, it's helped me grow and I get to see all the amazing I don't want to say talents, but all the amazing ways that everybody else sees or hears or smells or whatever. I have a tendency to smell. And if sometimes when I can be watching a show and I can smell something from that show, I can look at it and see what they're looking at or whatever, and I can smell. Or I can walk into a room and smell like different things. Like, as you know, I work with reentry and I can walk into a room and I know like for, I mean, I know who's like smoking weed or selling weed or who's involved with drugs because I can smell it.
Mhm.
And then, I found out later, hey, such and such happened. I'm like, oh, yeah, I smelled that. Okay. But no, but I mean, I like to because I feel like sometimes in the beginning, I felt like I wasn't able to see or wasn't able to hear anything like that. So it was really great for me to see how everybody else was seeing and hearing in the spirit and how they were engaging and what was going on because that helped me grow as well because it helped me to understand that yes, I was actually seeing things or hearing things. And with media, it's like what we did in the spirit is so much more than what we actually realize or know.
Mhm.
And the father, I mean, that was a big deal. Like somebody the other day that I was talking to, my coworker, he was actually, and I feel like a lot of what we did in the spirit had to do with the area in California somewhere. And he was actually um a firefighter out in California. And he was telling me about some stuff about when they went into the forest and how they saw all these different ritual um, markings that were there from like the indigenous people, that they had gone out there and done some stuff, and a lot of them were curses. And so I thought that was really exciting because I was like, oh, we broke a lot of curses when we went and did the, whatever the Father showed us to do.
Hmm.
So that was like really amazing to hear some of the stuff that he talked about.
That's cool.
I thought that was really, yeah. And yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. Thanks for
All right.
sharing. All right. Anyone else, would you like to share anything or ask anything?
I found myself engaging with people from my kind of like church whenever I speak with them. I think that thing that Christina said some time ago, there's a difference between praying and engaging. So I find myself engaging with them more often now. And I think they're beginning to enjoy it.
Yay, that's awesome.
It's just a new and exciting experience for them.
That's cool. I love that. You know, I got to the point where the Lord told me to quit praying like that. And it was so weird because I would often have like forced times where I would have to, and I would just engage and pretend like I was praying. And so I would be like, "Oh, Christine, will you bless the food?" Okay, hate when people ask me to do that, by the way. Please don't ask me. I know I'm always asked to do this. But anyway, oh, she's the minister, she'll do it. And so anyway, people ask me to do it. So I'm like, okay. And so then I'm like, Yeshua, thank you for taking our hands and leading us to the Father. And we sit with him at the banqueting table. You know what I mean? And I just go in and I'm engaging and thanking him the same way that people are expecting, but not bless the food that prepared, the hands that prepared the food for nourishment for our bodies. You know what I mean? All that ridiculous same thing that people say and don't even know what they're saying. And I don't know how many times I've heard people pray for their food, and it's like, thank you, God, for our food and for the nourishment of our bodies. In Jesus' name, amen. And I'm like, you weren't even talking to him. You know, I don't know how many times I've actually had to say that. I've said that to my kids. I'm like, were you even talking to him? Because that's offensive to me, you know, and it is offensive if you're not actually engaging with the Lord, like it's pretend. And so I do that a lot. I engage with people, whether they know it or not, and they end up engaging with the Lord by accident. And I love it. That's the way I think. Anyway, I have to be fully myself. People have learned that even in my Mary Kay group, we often will pray for other people. And I will just say, hey, just so you know, I pray a little differently than other people. And so I'm just going to see what the Lord shows me. And then I'll share what the Lord shows me. And it's always like a giant blessing to whoever it is. But I think we just have to be okay with being the weirdos. That's something that I think most of us want to fit into society for some stupid reason. I mean, we're told in the scriptures that we're supposed to be the weirdos, right? The peculiar people. Remember that? That's saying I'm a weirdo.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I'll say, and I'm a big weirdo. And people go, oh, don't call yourself that. And I'm like, I like it. I think it's a compliment. Like there is nothing wrong with being a weirdo. I embrace it. And so for me, I feel like we need to quit pretending to be someone else and just be the weird ones. We can be crazy, weirdly loving too. We can be the people who will always be there for someone, and it's weird that we show up. I don't know how many people I have done that to, that they're like, I just can't believe you're helping me like this. And I'm like, almost like, well, why wouldn't I? It's so normal to be weird. You know what I mean? My life, the weirdness is normal. It's just weird to everybody else. And so I think that that's because we are the heavenly creatures. We're those heavenly beings. And when we come from a different culture, we act differently. And that's how we function. We look a little different. We feel a little different. We speak a little differently. People say, "Oh, you shouldn't speak in that language no one understands." I'm like, people ask me what I mean. It's fine. Like, I mean, Karen's like, "What are you talking about?" You probably know what I'm talking about. It's just like talking about your mandate. Well, you have a mandate for that. And then Pearl goes, "What exactly does that mean again?" You know what I mean? And it's because I don't mean to, but that's just my language now, because it's normal for me. And even if people are a little bit confused, they usually will ask questions and say, "What exactly did she mean by that?" That's what got me involved in engaging. Was I had this experience with this lady, and she's talking about the courts of heaven and bench of three. I'm like, what exactly do you mean when you're saying that? Because I was like, I don't understand that. And so then she's like, well, and then all of a sudden, engaging heaven was opened up to me. Wouldn't you like to be that person for somebody else? To be the person who lives so much from heaven that they don't understand and they want to ask you questions. And then all of a sudden they get to engage the heavenly realms and have their whole life rocked. My whole life was turned upside down in a moment. It's so awesome. I tell you what, I was driving. You guys, most of you know Lisa Gwynn. I talked about her last week too, I think, that she wrote this book, and her book came out. I'm very excited. She has brain cancer, that one. Okay, so Lisa, one of my very best friends now. Do you guys remember that I love Zeal? This nutrition drink Zeal. Most people know this about me. And so I was selling Zeal, and Lisa just decided to start taking Zeal, and decided, well, she didn't want to sell herself, but she felt like her husband wouldn't let her not do it. And so she came to this conference with me, and we drove 13 hours to Nashville, Tennessee. And when we were on the drive, it was me and her and my friend, Dr. Sarah, and another lady, Nancy. Well, I knew that Lisa and Dr. Sarah were both strong Christians. Dr. Sarah flowed in some of the engaging stuff like me. Lisa did not. Nancy was like baby Christian. Okay. So this is who was in my car with me. And I'm driving, and I'm like starting to fall asleep. And I'm like, I have got to do something to engage my mind. And so what do I always do? Listen to podcasts and videos and stuff. And so I was like, do you guys mind if I put something on that I can just listen to and focus on? No, that's fine. Well, Nancy, even though she's a baby Christian, she also is like super open to everything. So I knew nothing would offend her. She'd probably just be like, well, that girl's weird, but it'd be fine. Sarah, I knew she was cool because she flows in what I flow in. But then Lisa had never heard a lot of stuff. So I'm thinking, I'm just going to put on something that I know is not going to be too weird. And so I put on Chris Blackaby, Living from Heaven. And I don't know if you've ever watched this video before, but it's pretty easy. He makes stuff really easy for beginners to understand. Okay. And so anyway, I put this on thinking this will be like fine, no big deal. When we finished this video, Lisa turns to me and goes, well, what the hell am I supposed to do with that? And I'm like, what just happened? I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, that just completely changed my whole life. And I'm like, what? And she was so blown away. I'm not kidding. We had this discussion for then hours after this about her faith walk and all the stuff that she'd been kind of secretly flowing in. But then her husband was a normal preacher in the Methodist church, if that tells you anything. Okay. So anyway, she was completely shifted and changed that day, so much so that when we got home and she had to then drive another 3 hours, she had to stop on the side of the road because she was crying so hard before the Lord that she couldn't drive anymore. She went home. She was so shaken that she had to take off work for 2 days because of her relationship with the Lord was so completely turned upside down. Now she's one of the people who is affecting the world because of what she's going through and what the Lord is doing in her life. She is one of these people that I trust more than anyone in the spirit. When she sees something in the spirit, it is for sure real. Like, it is amazing what she flows in. And it was just because I was bored one day and like couldn't stay awake in the car. But man, sometimes if we can just be weird and we can flow in what we flow in without apology, it can shift things in the world in a huge way, in a really huge way. And so, we talk about manifesting the kingdom of heaven on earth. I don't think that even I understand what kind of impact I can have, because I always think this, I don't think I've told you guys this, or maybe I have, but the Lord told me that the reason he put me on this timeline in this place and time is because I am supposed to help all of humanity come to a higher way of functioning in the collective consciousness. And if that doesn't happen, then he's going to have to wipe everything out and restart. I don't tell that to like anybody, just so you know. So you guys are special. But I go, people, there's no way I could do this. Like, this is what I do. I freak out and I go, I get it, but I don't know how to make everybody else get it. I don't know how to do that. And I'm like constantly freaking out over this mandate because it seems way too big for me. Little old me, this girl in Kansas who lives in a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house and squished together with their kids. Like, how could I possibly affect that many people, right? The Lord has started to show me, because I have an impact here that has an impact here, that has an impact here, that has an impact here. And all of a sudden, everything's changed. And it can be really that simple. And so it's not just about me. Each of us have these certain mandates that are like that. We just have to seek, what is it? What am I made for? Why am I put here in this time? What's the real reason? Now, Lord, give me first steps and help me to be who I really genuinely am and not some pretend person. Because, man, I think about being pretend every day, you guys. It's so stupid. I feel like most of you would look at me and go, she's wildly, genuinely out there, completely who she is, right? And then I meet with Pearl. This last week, River and Pearl and I were meeting. And she's like, oh my gosh, I've never seen this side of you, Christine. It's like, I'm so thankful that I get to see the real humanity. And I'm like, oh, funny thing is, I don't realize I'm hiding it. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I'm hiding that, but I oftentimes want my best face to be forward. And I think like I think about this on social media. A lot of people put out all the good stuff. I am that person. I fall into that category. And it's not that I'm trying to hide anything bad. It's that I don't actually think about when my life sucks. I don't think, hey, I want to remember that and put it on social media. I think, how can I isolate? Terribly, but that's true. That's how I am. And so I think, oh my gosh, this awesome thing happened. I want to remember this. Let's take a picture and put it on Facebook. Like that's how I feel. And so I get excited on birthday of my kid or something, that sort of thing, or a trip that I'm on. And people are like, wow, she travels the world all the time. And I'm like, yeah, most of the time I'm in this like lift recliner that used to be my grandma's. And I'm like, just not doing anything but scrolling on my phone. I am that person most of the time. You see the twice a year things, and so it's so funny how we all do that. We want to put our best face forward, but if we can try to be genuine all the time, to just be who we are, I've stopped apologizing for my language. And I know you guys are used to it now. But man, I used to be so scared to just talk like I talk in real life, because I thought everyone would judge me. And I was like, I'm going to offend all these people who are too religious. And then I'm like, wait a second, I want to offend the religious spirit. And so then I'm like, okay, I guess it's fine. And it is. It's fine. Why not offend a religious spirit? I don't want that thing around. Kick that thing out. So anyway, I don't know how I get off on these rants. I'm doing it again. But I just want us all to be with each other, engage genuinely with each other in real life conversations and in the spirit, that it's like, it's okay to have your weird quirks. It's okay that I love makeup tutorials. That's something that's okay. I don't have to just be spiritual all the time. Karen, what were you saying?
I need a tutorial.
Okay. Well, you should schedule an appointment with me, not on my Acuity calendar, because that's for ministry. But schedule an appointment with me. I love doing that stuff. It's like my fun time. So for sure.
Okay.
I also need a remember for the hooded eyes.
Okay. I can
For
do
the
that. I love talking about what to do for hooded
hooded
eyes.
eyes.
Hooded eyes. It's like,
Okay.
I don't know if you want to show your eyes, but you could show, because I don't really have hooded eyes, but it's like kind of when your eyelid kind of comes down further than your bottom part of the eyelid. You know what I'm saying? Like your top part kind of goes down like that. See, look. See how hers kind of covers up the bottom part? That's a hood. So it's a hooded eye like that. So some people are just built differently. Oh, Nidia, you're talking except for no one's hearing you because you're muted.
Oh, no, I was just saying, if I were to put eyeshadow right here, I open my eyes and they're like, it's gone. There's
Nothing,
like,
yeah.
it's not.
Yeah, so there are certain things you can do to help with hooded eyes, because as we age, like it gets worse. And so there are certain things you can do to help with that, and then other things you can do to make it not really seem like that. And so you can have your eyeshadow be higher. Okay, I'm going to go into tutorial if I keep going. I'm quitting. Pearl, go ahead.
This is where the real you comes in. And I love to see that other part of the real you. Makeup and tutorial. I was really pleased that you shared that kind of like way out west mandate that the Lord has given you to redeem mankind in some kind of way. And then you used a couple of like new age words, and it's like, whoa, a lot of people are not gonna like you saying that. And you saying to the Lord that, how am I gonna do this? This is way too big for me. And the reason why I wanted to say something is I was talking to the Lord was asking me to do something when I was engaging with him. And I said, Lord, I can't do that. It's just like it was just so much. And it was the second time the Lord got a bit upset with me, but this time he was like more intense in his emotions towards me because he said, you see that suit over there? I was like, yeah. He said, if I tell you to put that suit on, he says, even though it's over there and you think it cannot fit you. And I'm looking at this suit, and this suit is massive, massive jacket, massive kind of like trousers. I think you probably call it pants. He said, if I tell you to put that suit on, he says, um, you put it on. He said, I know by the time you walk towards it, by the time you get to it, it will fit you. So don't tell me you cannot do something.
Oh, that's
I'm
so
like,
good.
oh, yes. First time the Lord was like so intense with me thinking when he asked me to do something, I'm thinking I can't do it because when I look at it, that suit is too big for me. Lord, I can't do that. It is too big. But what was really good in his example is he says, by the time I walk towards it, I'll be able to fit into it. I didn't see the end result. I simply saw the bigness from where I am
Yeah.
or where I was standing in that moment rather than me coming into it over there.
So
So
good.
I hear you, Christine. You can't see how you're going to do it, but he would make it happen.
Yeah. That's really good.
I have a question for
Yeah.
you.
Go ahead.
I want you, if the Lord is okay with you, to share the latest, whoa, that blew my mind experience with the Lord that you may be saying, that's too much. I don't think I could share that. As in, like, that's way off. If God is okay for you sharing it.
Okay. I
It would
will.
excite me.
I'm really outside of my comfort zone right now. Um, I okay. I've mentioned it in the past in passing. Um, yeah, I haven't shared this publicly with anyone. Some of you know about it. Um, I'll tell you this. River introduced me to a video of someone that she watched named Israel Anderson. And she's like, Christine, have you ever heard of him? Have you seen anything? Because I watched this video and I'm just like really wanting to know your take on it. And so I was like, okay. And she told me what it was about. And here's what it's called: Who is Yahweh? And it was about the premises that Yahweh is not our father and he is not Yeshua's father, that Yahweh is really the enemy, and that our father is not that Yahweh was not the creator, all of this stuff. Okay. Now, just hearing that part, I'm like, I don't believe that. Okay. That's what I said. And I had already said this to a lot, well, not a lot, but like someone else close in my life years before when he brought up someone who was teaching that stuff. And I was like, nope, I don't believe that. And I was very close minded. But River is not telling me that this is right. She's not telling me that it's wrong. She's just like, I don't know what I think about this. Can you please just watch this video and let me know your thoughts? And so that helped me because I was like, I'm always open to that. And so I went in going, okay, Lord, you know me. We eat the meat and spit the bones. So I'm going to take in whatever you want and I'm going to spit out anything you don't want me to have. And so I watched this video and it shook me because this guy, first of all, when he first started, I could tell he was full of the Holy Spirit and love. And immediately his spirit aligned with my spirit. He functions way differently than me. So when he is a Bible teacher only, so he is not teaching from revelation at all, not his personal revelation from the Lord. He is only proving the Bible. I don't know if you know me. I am not a fan of those kind of teachers. So for me, just having someone who's proving things in the Bible is not very helpful to me. I'm always like, Lord, I need you to form my theology. Okay. But I do love the Bible. And so I'm listening. And as he goes, the Lord just starts speaking to my heart about different things that he's saying. And still, there were things I didn't agree with and still don't. But a lot of it lined up with the character of God. And I realized I really think he's right. And so then I wrestled with the Lord. And I was like, Father, I have got to know, is this real? Is this true? Because I know you. And he started showing me I can't call him Yahweh anymore. So you may have noticed I don't call him that anymore. I don't talk about the Yod He Vav He anymore. I really, really still believe in the four faces of God and how that's important in our walk. I don't believe it's the Yod He Vav He. And I have taught people this so much that I had a stupid amount of repenting to do because I have led people astray without meaning to, because I was led astray. And I should have known better because the Father told me when I first started engaging, don't show anyone anything that I haven't first shown you here. And still, I took other people's teaching that I had applied to my life and taught that. And so, anyway, I had a lot of repenting to do for that. Probably you're like me, maybe not, but some of you might be like, what is she saying? That's blasphemy, because that's how I felt. But I just ask you to take it to the Father. Ask him the truth. And if you feel led, watch that video. It's pretty interesting. Like I said, I don't believe everything in the video, but what'd you say?
I said, well, because I was watching someone, I don't know, I'm bad with names. And he's a scientist and he actually proves a lot of biblical stuff through science, but he was not a Christian. He doesn't claim to be a Christian. He likes to investigate and just go by facts. But he's very, very spiritual and very kind. And anyways, I was listening to him a while ago and he made a comment that kind of stirred up my spirit. And I was like, what? And he said something about how, first of all, I was shocked that he wasn't claiming to be a Christian because he proves a lot of the biblical historical stuff through science. So that was a shocker. And then two, he said that like our father is not the father that the Christians think he is. Like not, I don't remember exactly how he said it, but it was like it's not the God of the Bible. It's that's not who he is. And it like stirred up my spirit and stuff. And now hearing you say this, it's like, okay, Lord. Maybe we're on to something.
Well, here's what I believe. I do believe that he is the God of the Bible. I just don't
I was
believe that.
wrestling with that because I was like, wait, I still believe in Jesus. What do you mean? But I don't know if that has anything to do with Yah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I really think you might really like watching the video then, because he explains a lot of that, how um, our Father, Yeshua's Father, is not the same as Yahweh, and basically proves it through scripture. And it is really interesting and quite compelling. Um, now I can confidently say I believe that. Before I was still on this, I'm not quite sure. I'm still trying to figure this out. Where am I at? So I didn't want to say anything. I also am not a Bible teacher. Do I know the Bible? Yes, but I feel like that is not my mandate, is to be a Bible teacher. And so I am not going to be the one to go and prove it in scripture to anyone. I also don't believe that we should ever weaponize scripture. And so I'm not going to argue or debate with people about it. But I absolutely believe in Yeshua. I absolutely believe in God the Father. He is my father. He still is my father. I went to him to ask him about it because I know he's the true God. I have been proven that a million times. And so it's not like my faith fell away. It was just the name Yahweh and who that is in the scriptures. And a lot of the God of the Old Testament was Yahweh. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And a lot of the things that don't really line up with the God of the New Testament, which I've always known and always tried to explain away. Except for this just shifted everything to go, yeah, now this makes sense, because now I'm understanding that my God isn't like that. It's true. Like I know who he is, and all the things I've known in my heart are true. And so anyway, I don't know if that's helpful, but yeah. Okay. I'll put the name in
Thank
the
you
chat
for
box if you want, so you know what it is that I'm talking about. But I'm not trying to get you guys to believe like I believe. Everyone is on their own journey. If you are convinced that Yahweh is the Father, you do you. Okay. We both follow Yeshua. We both believe in the gospel. It's the truth. So anyway, I'm going to say
thank you
Israel.
for your courage and sharing that. Do you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I said thank you for your courage and sharing that. And I being courageous and sharing stuff like that also want you to know that that ignites us to do our own research and grow even further, right? Like being vulnerable like that and sharing boldly, it also is pruning each other and encouraging us to go verify and grow, seek the Father.
I think that's
Would you
awesome.
like me to
Thank you.
forward it, Christine?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be great. Yeah, I have worried about saying things because I do know that um it can make people question everything. I've had this happen with other people in the past who I've discipled really closely, who I have never thought would question my relationship with them or the Lord. And it has done that. And so I always only want to step out when the Lord leads. And I have been feeling recently like he was leading that. I just didn't know how it would come about. So thanks, Nadia, for asking me the hard ones, the hard questions. Yes. All right. Well, we have only 10 minutes, but let's engage together, please. Okay. All right. I love you guys. Let's do this. Okay. I know we have not engaged for very long, but I also want to give just a little bit of time at least for people to share. So is there anything that the Lord was showing you that you feel like you can or want to share? And please don't be shy. Let's just start. Thanks, Nadia. Go ahead.
So I felt, wow, I felt like the Lord said that we are going to learn so much more from, we've been learning a lot, but he is willing to teach us as much as we are willing to learn. So he has a lot for us to grow in, a lot of things to learn and discover and he will show us and teach us as much as we want. So a lot of this new journey coming up with this class is going to be based on how much we want to know. So if we want to jump in wholeheartedly by faith, he's going to meet us there. He's going to meet our expectations per se. But he also is a gentleman and he will not give us more than we're willing to step into. So I said, I'm jumping in.
That's awesome.
So in that same sense is kind of asking me, do you trust me? Do we trust the Lord to step into it all that?
That's good.
And based on that keyword trust, sometimes when I ask my student to write a paragraph and the paragraph is not as it should be, the Lord is showing me that, when they write something or when we do something, we erase it. And when we erase it, we can start again. It's like the Lord is saying, trust me. It doesn't matter, even if you fail, as it were, when he rubs it out or deletes it, it's no longer there. The imprint of that is no longer there. So don't feel as though you can't. Just trust him. Even if you fail, it's not going to be a failure to him. You're just learning. That's the trust.
That's awesome. Thank you. Anyone else?
I'll share. So this was interesting because listening to Nydia talk earlier about her engaging with Amanda, and there's somebody that I used to engage with all the time and had similar kind of experiences as far as like reclaiming the land and going into the White House and going into the Supreme Court in different places and really claiming the Lord's presence and his righteousness there. And I haven't um, been engaging with that person for a long time now. And this was really encouraging. I'm going to make time to engage with you guys again. And so at this, as we just engaged, there was one time when the two of us were engaging when we were at the center of the country with the Lion of Judah. And that happened again just now. And so I was at the center of the country, which, by the way, is Kansas.
Yeah, it is.
um, anyway, so and actually, I rode there on my unicorn, and the Lord had me just pray, and so it was also interesting because in my personal walk, before I came back to the Lord after walking away from Him for 3 decades, one of the places where I like rested the most, because during that time I was continuing to seek spiritually and initiate by Nasser in India. You name it, I went down all the roads you can go down, and where I kind of landed the most was with the spirit, with the Native American honoring of the elements and the animals and all of the creation. And when I was just on that trip in Idaho, and we went down that river, um, and I was talking with the Lord, and I what came up was this the grandfather that was with the Lord, that was the Lord, and I came to understand that that was a past life of mine, and so while I was in the middle of the country just now, I was doing a prayer in all of the directions, and with the sword that I've received in heaven, and um, using it to break through the strongholds that are that have continued or that are still left, and just to continue to break those up as I went around, um, and then at the end of doing that, and then just offering it up to the Lord, the Lion of Judah roared, and his roar went into all those places that the sword had gone into the earth in all the different directions. So thank you. That's all.
Awesome. That's
God's moving in a big way.
yes. Cool. Anyone else want to share? Okay, well, I was just wrestling with the Lord about the feasts. And when I say wrestling, I'm not fighting him. I'm just wrestling in my heart with him about the fall feasts that are coming up, because one of the things he has led me in is to celebrate the feasts. And some of the feasts are very focused on Yahweh. And so I've been like, okay, Lord, I need to know exactly what is from you and not from you, what's man-made and what's from you, because I've always kind of felt like some things are forced and other things have a lot of grace on them with the feasts. But I've just thought it was a problem with me not understanding Jewish things. And so I have kind of dismissed a lot of that, but I think the Lord is trying to show me he's put life on certain things because it's him. And so I need to be a little more just following him in the spirit and what he tells me to do, and not just doing it because it's what the Jews do. You know what I mean? So that sounds confusing maybe, but that's a big deal for me, especially because it's this month, or this is the start of the fall feast. And so I just want to be a good steward. So, yeah. All right. Well, I love you guys very much. I hope you know it. And I know that we will all grow together this month, this semester, whatever it is that we're doing. I don't know. But I think it's going to be awesome. I have no idea what's in store, but the Lord does. And so we'll just have to follow him step by step and see. Yeah. Okay. Well, I will see you all soon. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.